You've heard of an RV, but what about an LV? It stands for living vehicle. It's sustainable and it embraces the remote work lifestyle, so you can live comfortably anywhere you want.
People think RVs hold value. That belief is collapsing right now. Across America, RVs that cost $30,000, $70,000, even $200,000 are becoming impossible to sell. Dealers won't take them, banks won't finance them, buyers won't touch them. Tonight, we expose 15 RVs the market has completely walked away from and why this collapse is accelerating. The Winnebago Laro is one of the clearest examples of how an RV can become functionally worthless even if it still runs. Produced mainly between 1983 and 1990, the Laro was built on a Renault Armax chassis, which immediately creates a modern problem: parts availability. Renault exited the US passenger vehicle market decades ago, and many drivetrain, suspension, and braking components are no longer manufactured at scale. Today, owners report waiting weeks or months for specialty parts, often sourced overseas or scavenged from donor vehicles. Repair shops frequently refuse to work on them at all. Labor costs for custom fixes routinely exceed $120 to $160 per hour, meaning a single repair can surpass the RV's entire resale value. Market data from private listings shows most Laro selling between $2,000 and $6,000, often after sitting unsold for 6 to 12 months. That price range is lower than many used motorcycles. Fuel efficiency, once its selling point, is no longer impressive, averaging 14 to 16 miles per gallon, which modern Class B vans now match or exceed with better safety and reliability. Structurally, the Laro suffers from aging fiberglass, delaminated panels, and obsolete electrical systems. Many still rely on outdated 30-amp wiring and original converters that are incompatible with modern lithium upgrades. In today's RV market, buyers want serviceability, parts access, and upgrade potential. The Laro fails all three. As a result, many are now sold strictly for scrap value or novelty, not practical travel. That's why lenders won't finance them. Insurers often restrict coverage, and dealers refuse them as trade-ins. This combination represents the definition of a collapsed asset in the modern RV marketplace. Low-end travel trailers built between 2005 and 2015 represent the largest group of RVs that have effectively collapsed in value. These were produced during high-volume boom years using stapled wood framing, thin aluminum siding, and minimal insulation, often rated for seasonal use only. The biggest issue is oversupply. Millions were sold nationwide, and today the used market is flooded. When supply overwhelms demand, value collapses regardless of condition. Even clean units routinely sell for $3,000 to $7,000, down from original prices of $18,000 to $25,000. Water intrusion is the silent killer. Industry inspection data shows that over 65% of older entry-level trailers have undetected roof or window leaks. Once rot reaches wall studs or flooring, repair costs often exceed $8,000 to $12,000, instantly making the trailer economically unsalvageable. These trailers also lack modern amenities buyers expect. No four-season insulation, weak air conditioning, undersized tanks, and limited solar capability. Many max out at 30 to 40 gallons of fresh water, making extended travel impractical. Dealers almost universally refuse these units as trade-ins. Banks won't finance them. Storage facilities report that abandoned low-end trailers make up a disproportionate share of unpaid storage liens. In the current market, these trailers are not cheap bargains. They are liabilities. They cost money to move, store, insure, and repair, while offering almost no resale upside. That combination is exactly how RVs become worthless. The over-upped with structural degradation has created a perfect storm that destroyed the value proposition completely. Fifth wheels with unresolved water damage are among the fastest depreciating RVs in America. Unlike cosmetic issues, structural rot compromises the framed body integrity, especially around slide-outs, pin boxes, and roof seams. Repair estimates tell the whole story. Replacing rotted flooring under slides can cost $10,000 to $18,000. Full roof replacement often exceeds $15,000. Wall rebuilds involving aluminum framing routinely hit $20,000 or more. Meanwhile, the average resale value of a 10 to 15-year-old fifth wheel is often $12,000 to $20,000 total. That math makes repairs completely irrational. Buyers are increasingly educated. Moisture meters are now standard during inspections, and even 15 to 20% moisture readings will scare off most purchasers. Once rot is documented, resale interest collapses instantly. Weight is another factor. Older fifth wheels frequently exceed $14,000 to $16,000, requiring heavy-duty trucks that fewer buyers own. Rising diesel prices and insurance costs have further shrunk the buyer pool. Storage facilities and auction houses report that damaged fifth wheels often sell for $1,500 to $4,000, primarily to flippers or dismantlers. Many end up parted out with appliances removed and frames scrapped. These units aren't worthless because they're old. They're worthless because structural failure destroys trust. And trust is the currency of the used RV market. Once buyers lose confidence in structural integrity, no amount of cosmetic appeal can restore value. The combination of repair costs exceeding total value plus buyer skepticism creates an irreversible downward spiral that defines worthless RVs in today's market. Gas-powered Class A motorhomes from the 1990s have suffered catastrophic depreciation due to size, efficiency, and age-related failure points. Originally sold for $60,000 to $100,000, many now struggle to sell for $8,000 to $15,000. Fuel economy averages 6 to 8 liters per gallon, which becomes financially painful during long trips. At modern fuel prices, a 1,000 mi journey can cost $700 to $900 in fuel alone, not including campground fees or other expenses. Mechanical issues compound the problem. Aging Ford and GM chassis suffer from obsolete brake systems, brittle wiring, and cooling limitations. Parts are still available, but labor costs dominate. A single engine repair can exceed $6,000, while transmission rebuilds often hit $4,000 to $5,000. Interior systems are equally dated. Many rely on original propane refrigerators, analog control panels, and generators with thousands of hours of wear. Electrical upgrades are difficult due to outdated layouts and limited panel capacity. Modern buyers compare these rigs to newer Class C or Super C models that offer better safety, slide efficiency, and fuel economy. The comparison is brutal and immediate. As a result, these motorhomes now sell primarily to cash buyers, collectors, or land use owners. Dealers rarely accept them. Banks won't finance them. In real terms, they've transitioned from vehicles to stationary assets, which is a major reason their market value has collapsed. These RVs represent a bygone era when fuel was cheap and efficiency didn't matter. Today's operating costs have rendered them practically obsolete, creating assets that drain resources rather than provide value. Pop-up campers were once considered affordable entry points into RVing. Today, older units with rot issues are among the least valuable RVs on the market. The reason is simple. Repair economics don't work. Canvas replacement alone can cost $1,500 to $3,000, often exceeding the camper's resale value. Frame corrosion, especially around lift systems, can render the unit unsafe. Welding repairs frequently cost $1,000 or more, assuming parts are even available. Most pop-ups built before 2010 lack modern braking systems, reinforced roofs, or insulation. Many are rated for limited seasonal use and suffer from chronic condensation damage that accelerates deterioration. Market data shows older pop-ups commonly listed for $500 to $2,500, often with months of no buyer interest. Storage yards report high abandonment rates because owners decide it's cheaper to walk away than transport or repair them. Modern buyers prefer lightweight travel trailers or teardrops that offer solid walls, climate control, and better resale stability. That shift has erased demand completely. In economic terms, these pop-ups have crossed the threshold where disposal costs rival ownership value. This represents the final stage before an RV becomes truly worthless. The pop-up market demonstrates how quickly preferences can shift. What was once seen as practical minimalism is now viewed as outdated compromise. Canvas walls that once symbolized affordable adventure now represent maintenance nightmares and resale dead ends. The combination of obsolete features and high repair costs relative to value has permanently destroyed this segment's viability in the used market. Livin Light RVs collapsed in value almost overnight after the company shut down operations in 2018. While these trailers were once praised for aluminum construction and low weight, the brand's disappearance created a fatal problem: zero factory support. Owners today face major obstacles sourcing proprietary components, including door frames, cabinetry systems, and roof assemblies, none of which are standardized across other manufacturers. Even minor repairs often require custom fabrication, driving labor costs above $130 per hour. Resale data shows live-in light trailers losing 65 to 75% of their value within just a few years of the shutdown. Units that originally sold for $25,000 to $30,000 now struggle to sell for $7,000 to $10,000 even in good condition. Dealers almost universally refuse them as trade-ins. Insurance is another quiet killer. Several insurers classify discontinued brands as high risk due to uncertain repairability, increasing premiums, or limiting coverage. Financing is essentially non-existent as most lenders require active manufacturer support. Buyers fear becoming the last owner, and that fear kills demand. Even though aluminum framing resists rot, market confidence matters more than materials. In today's RV economy, brand continuity equals value. Once that disappears, depreciation accelerates brutally. Live and Light became a case study in how fast a well-built RV can become financially toxic. The Live Light collapse proves that build quality alone cannot sustain value. Without parts availability and service networks, even superior construction becomes worthless. Owners discovered they owned orphaned assets that mechanics wouldn't touch and dealers wouldn't accept. Toy haulers from the late 2000s and early 2000s have become some of the hardest RVs to sell. The problem isn't just age, it's weight, fuel cost, and shrinking demand. Many older toy haulers exceed 12,000 to 14,000 RLEB, requiring heavy-duty trucks that fewer buyers own. Fuel costs alone eliminate a massive portion of the market. Towing one $1,000 MI can cost $500 to $800 in fuel. Interior layouts also hurt value. Early toy haulers prioritized garage space over livability, resulting in cramped kitchens, weak insulation, and minimal storage. As the average RV buyer aged upward, demand for these layouts collapsed. Maintenance costs are higher than standard trailers. Reinforced frames, heavy ramps, and suspension components wear faster. Ramp door repairs alone can exceed $3,000 to $5,000. Used market data shows many older toy haulers listed between $6,000 to $12,000, often sitting unsold for months. Dealers frequently auction them instead of retailing. What once symbolized freedom now represents operational expense. In a soft RV market, high-cost rigs die first. The toy hauler segment illustrates how lifestyle changes destroy value. These RVs were designed for young families hauling motorcycles and ATVs. As that demographic aged out and fuel prices increased, the fundamental use case evaporated. Buyers today want fuel efficiency and comfort over cargo capacity. The result is a category of RVs built for a market that no longer exists, creating thousands of essentially unsellable units nationwide. Class C motorhomes with 100,000 or more miles have entered the danger zone of RV depreciation. While engines may still run, buyers increasingly understand that mileage affects every system, not just the drivetrain. Suspension rebuilds often cost $4,000 to $6,000. Roof resealing and cab-over repairs frequently exceed $5,000, especially since class cab-overs are notorious for water intrusion. Fuel economy remains mediocre at 8 to 10 miles per gallon, while newer vans deliver better efficiency with fewer maintenance points. Buyers compare numbers and walk away. Resale values reflect that reality. Many high-mileage Class Cs sell between $15,000 to $25,000, down from original prices of $70,000 to $90,000. Financing is rare once mileage crosses lender thresholds, typically $80,000 to $100,000 MI. These RVs aren't dead mechanically, but financially, they're nearing the cliff. The mileage issue extends beyond just engine wear. Every bearing, seal, hinge, and slide mechanism has seen equivalent use. Buyers understand this creates cascading failure risk where multiple systems need attention simultaneously. Insurance companies factor mileage into premium calculations. Storage facilities charge the same, regardless of value. Registration and inspection costs don't decrease with depreciation. The result is ownership costs that remain fixed while value plummets, creating negative financial leverage. Modern buyers also recognize that high-mileage Class CRVs face immediate major expenses. The cab-over section alone represents structural vulnerability that worsens with age. Water intrusion combined with road vibration creates perfect conditions for rot. Once buyers factor pending repairs into offers, transaction prices collapse below viable levels. Basic truck campers without slides have quietly collapsed in value due to comfort limitations and payload requirements. Many exceed 2,500 to 3,000 LLB. Dry, eliminating half-ton trucks entirely. Buyers quickly discover the real cost. Upgraded suspension, tires, and brakes often add $4,000 to $8,000 to the truck, more than the camper itself is worth. Interior space is tight. Tank capacities are small, often 20 to 30 gallons, and winter usability is poor as off-grid expectations rose. Demand fell. Used prices hover around $3,000 to $7,000, and many listings expire without offers. Dealers rarely touch them. The camper isn't broken, the use case disappeared. Modern buyers compare these basic campers to lightweight travel trailers that offer more living space, better amenities, and flexibility to tow behind any vehicle. The truck camper's portability advantage has been eroded by improved trailer designs. The payload problem is particularly brutal. Many truck buyers don't realize their half-ton can't legally carry the camper until after purchase. 3, 4-ton, and 1-ton trucks are expensive and less fuel-efficient, turning the budget camper into a costly package. Storage is another issue. Unlike trailers that park anywhere, truck campers require removal systems or tie up the truck permanently. This inconvenience factor has quietly destroyed demand among casual RVers. The result is a category of RVs that made sense 20 years ago, but now represent compromised solutions to problems better solved by modern alternatives. Value has evaporated because buyer priorities fundamentally changed. Diesel pushers become worthless fast once major repairs appear. Engines may last $500,000 but everything around them doesn't. Air suspension failures can cost $6,000 to $10,000. Transmission work adds $7,000 or more. Electrical gremlins from aging multiplex systems often require specialists charging premium rates. Resale prices collapse instantly. A diesel pusher needing drivetrain work may sell for $20,000 to $30,000 despite costing $200,000 or more when new. Buyers don't fear age, they fear unknown repair exposure. Once repair estimates exceed resale value, the market walks away. That's when even luxury RVs become financial deadweight. The diesel pusher problem illustrates how complexity creates vulnerability. These coaches have dozens of interconnected systems: hydraulic leveling, air brakes, multiplex wiring, slide motors, and inverter systems. When one fails, diagnostics alone can cost thousands. Many diesel pushers also have proprietary components from manufacturers that no longer exist. Custom dash systems, integrated control panels, and specialized slide mechanisms become impossible to replace. Operating costs compound the problem. Even parked diesel pushers require expensive insurance and storage. Maintenance schedules demand regular fluid changes, generator exercise, and tire replacement regardless of use. Buyers who might afford the purchase price can't stomach the repair risk. The result is assets that look impressive but carry catastrophic financial exposure. Once major mechanical issues surface, diesel pushers often sell for scrap value, representing 90% depreciation from original cost. That's the definition of worthless in the RV world. Older Class B camper vans look desirable on the surface, but pre-2002 conversions have quietly collapsed in value due to mechanical aging and obsolete conversions. Most were built on early Dodge, Ford, or Chevy van platforms with drivetrains now exceeding $150,000 to $250,000 mi. The real problem isn't mileage, it's integration failure. Early conversions used custom wiring looms, proprietary cabinetry, and non-standard plumbing routed behind sealed panels. When something fails, repairs require tear-down labor that can exceed $5,000 to $10,000 quickly. Fuel economy averages 12 to 15 miles per gallon, barely better than much larger RVs. Meanwhile, modern Class B vans offer advanced safety systems, lithium-ready electrical, and better insulation, making older units unattractive by comparison. Used market pricing reflects this reality. Many older Class Bs sell between $12,000 to $25,000, down from original prices of $60,000 to $90,000. Financing is rare due to age, and insurance often requires limited use policies. Buyers fear being trapped with a vehicle that can't be economically repaired. Once that fear sets in, resale collapses even if the van still runs. The conversion quality varies wildly. Some companies used marine-grade components. Others used RV-grade materials that failed within years. Buyers cannot easily assess quality without invasive inspection, creating information asymmetry that destroys confidence. Safety is another concern. Pre-20 vans lack modern stability control, airbags, and collision avoidance. As these features became standard, older vans felt increasingly obsolete and unsafe for highway travel. Delamination is one of the fastest ways to destroy RV value. It occurs when fiberglass walls separate from their substrate due to moisture intrusion, representing structural failure, not cosmetic damage. Repair costs are extreme. Partial wall rebuilds often exceed $10,000 to $15,000. Full damianation repair can cost $20,000 or more, assuming the RV is even repayable. Meanwhile, many affected RVs are only worth $8,000 to $18,000 on the open market. Buyers instantly walk away once bubbles or ripples are visible. Lenders and insurers often refuse coverage entirely. Listings with visible damianation frequently sit unsold for 6 to 12 months before being pulled. Auction data shows damianated RVs often selling for $1,000 to $4,000, primarily to dismantlers. Appliances and generators are stripped, frames are scrapped. Once damianation is confirmed, the RV's market value collapses faster than almost any other defect. The delamination problem represents total structural compromise. Unlike other issues that can be repaired economically, delamination requires essentially rebuilding the entire sidewall. Labor alone can exceed 100 hours. Even repaired delamination destroys resale value permanently. Buyers know the RV has suffered catastrophic moisture intrusion and question what other damage exists. This stigma never disappears. Insurance companies often total damianated RVs rather than authorized repairs, recognizing the economic reality. Once declared total loss, the RV enters salvage title status, making it essentially unsellable except for parts. This rapid value destruction from single structural defect defines worthless RVs in modern markets. Hybrid trailers with canvas foldouts were popular for affordability, but older models have aged poorly. The canvas, seals, and lift mechanisms degrade simultaneously. Replacing hybrid tenting costs $2,000 to $4,000. Floor rod around foldouts adds another $4,000 to $8,000. Combined repairs often exceed $10,000, far more than the RV's resale value. Used prices now sit between $3,000 to $7,000, even for units that originally sold for $20,000 or more. Demand has collapsed as buyers prefer hard-sided trailers with better insulation and security. Storage facilities report high abandonment rates for hybrids because owners realize repairs aren't worth the cost. This category didn't fail overnight. It aged out of relevance. The hybrid concept seemed innovative. Solid walls were needed, canvas where space mattered. In practice, the fold-out sections created failure points that accelerated deterioration. Water intrusion through canvas seams damaged surrounding wood framing. Repeated folding stressed fabric beyond design limits. Lift mechanisms corroded from moisture exposure. These problems compounded over time until repair became economically impossible. Modern buyers also recognized security limitations. Canvas can be cut easily, making hybrids vulnerable in questionable areas. This security concern has become increasingly important as more people use RVs for extended living rather than weekend camping. Temperature control is another deal breaker. Canvas provides minimal insulation, making hybrids unusable in extreme weather. As four-season camping grew popular, hybrids became seasonal-only units with drastically reduced utility. The market responded with value destruction that left thousands of these RVs essentially worthless. RVs from manufacturers that went bankrupt or were absorbed into other brands suffer from support collapse. Once factory backing disappears, parts diagrams, warranty data, and proprietary components vanish. Buyers discount these RVs heavily due to fear of being the last owner. Resale values drop 50 to 70% faster than comparable supported brands. Insurance companies often increase deductibles or restrict claims. Financing is almost non-existent. Even well-maintained units sell for thousands less purely due to brand uncertainty. Value collapses not because of condition, but because of trust. The manufacturer support issue extends beyond just parts. Service bulletins that identify common problems disappear. Technical specifications needed for modifications become unavailable. Warranty claims get rejected because companies no longer exist to honor them. Repair shops hesitate to work on orphaned brands because they cannot verify proper procedures or source OEM parts. This service refusal creates practical barriers to ownership that destroy market demand. Some absorbed brands fare slightly better if the acquiring company maintains parts support. However, most acquisitions involve asset purchases that exclude warranty obligations and parts inventory. The result is RVs that look supported but actually aren't. Buyers increasingly research manufacturer stability before purchasing. Once bankruptcy rumors surface, values begin falling immediately. The actual shutdown accelerates collapse to near zero as panic selling floods markets. This pattern has repeated across dozens of RV manufacturers over the past 15 years. Each collapse leaves thousands of owners holding assets that lose 70% of value overnight through no fault of their own. Brand continuity has become the single most important value determinant in used RV markets. Generators are silent value killers. RVs with generators showing 2,000 to 4,000 or more hours face massive depreciation because replacement costs are brutal. A new RV generator typically costs $6,000 to $12,000 installed. Buyers factor that risk immediately into offers or walk away entirely.